This is Luke Hoskin
and Rosa Dere with your 4 p.m. news.
Coming up on today's programme, we look at developments in the Brightwells renovation.
Will the people of Great Britain still access the single market?
And we focus on local team Merstham, who are in the spotlight following last night's FA Cup draw. As the local council prepares to begin developments on a brand new shopping centre within the dilapidated Brightwell Gardens, an online petition has led to a halt in the work scheduled for next month. A small group of those opposed to the proposed building work, which would include the introduction of chain stores such as M&S and Wagamama's to the town, gathered today within the gardens today to speak freely and discuss plans with both like-minded, disillusioned townsfolk and frustrated residents desperate for change within the town. To get the views of all the public concerned by the work, we sent reporter Joey Stote to speak to the public. And he's here with us now. Hi, Joey.
Hi, Luke.
So was there an overwhelming feel of opposition down at the protest?
Well, I mean, whilst most were there to oppose the plans, there was actually a real sense of community spirit. We spoke to one guy who'd just come back from speaking to someone else, and he'd come back to meet a pro renovation speaker so they could go get a coffee and hash it out rather than yelling from two sides of the fence.
Yeah.
Well, I and thousands of us oppose it because we don't feel it is in the spirit of Farnham, and we feel it will be very bad for its economy.
Because it's a listed building, and if you owned a listed building yourself, or any of your friends owned a listed building, try demolishing part of it. The local authority would block you because it's a listed building, and yet this local authority now owns a building which actually the theatre itself was built by public subscription years ago, and it's part of Brightwell's house, therefore it's a listed building. They're giving themselves rights to demolish a listed building, which you or I, normal citizens, wouldn't get that right.
So, was there anybody there that was in favour of the plans? Anyone looking to provide an alternative view to those unwilling to cooperate with the town's plans?
There was a younger resident, just a local resident of Farnham, not a student, which is worth mentioning because you'd expect most of the views of the pro-renovation to be of students or those with young kids. But he was feeling that it was just the places that we have now, they don't really provide anything for the economy. They're just there, and they didn't really, even in their heyday, they didn't really experience much of a boom. And with our clip here, he really gets his point across.
For me, despite it being a listed building, they don't take care of it. If it was something that was historical to Farnham, you would have thought they'd taken more care of the building itself. Yes, they take care of Brightwell's gardens itself. They always take care of it. They're always trimming the grass on, and they're always maintaining the flowers and things bed into it. But it's derelict. It's not been used for years. It was a failed building from the start. It was invested in public money, and it didn't get anywhere with it. I can't help but think, as a local resident, all the developments would benefit greatly from Farnham redeveloping its money back for the public interest, and then having more shops and things. It would make me more liable to come to Farnham to shop. Instead, I go to Farnborough or Guildford. I go other places because that's where the shops I want to be are.
So, most importantly, Joey, what are your feelings?
Well, I'm with the young man previously. He makes a great point about there being nowhere to really shop or spend time in Farnham unless you're willing to walk around Sainsbury's for a good hour every weekend. I think that rather than taking a hit to the economy, I feel that it would really strengthen it because there's nowhere for us to spend our money. As a student, we look to go elsewhere to spend all our money, where we could be spending it here, strengthening what we already have rather than just letting an old building sit there and rot.
Thank you very much, Joey. Thanks for your time.
Campaigners for Britain to remain in the single market have taken to the streets of North London. The single market allows Britain to trade freely within the EU, but it could now be costing billions to protect their membership as they voted to leave the European Union. Neil Anderton is campaigning for Britain to stay in the single market.
Supporting a petition to Sadiq Khan to ask him to, I know that he already is supporting London to stay in the single market, but we feel that as many signatures as we can get will give strength to his arm in his negotiations with the government to protect the jobs that are dependent on the single market. The single market is a trade-free zone which includes at the moment the UK and 27 other countries. If we lose access to that single market, we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but it'll probably revert to world trade arrangements, which means that many of our goods that we try and export to Europe could have as much as 10% tax.
Children are now for a haunted half-term at the Maltings next week, but will clown sightings scare them off? Olivia Peacock has more.
As Halloween draws closer, the Maltings are getting involved by offering a range of spooky events for kids. Bar assistant Louise Gertler has the details.
So we offer a lot of Halloween events, for example, cupcake decorating or monster makeup workshop. But there's just loads going on. If they're done with one activity, they can just straight go to the next.
But with the recent clown sightings sweeping the nation, will kids be too scared to attend the event?
I mean, it is quite a scary event if you think about it, but our activities are not scary for the kids. They're just made to be fun. We're not gonna scare them.
Let's hope these pranksters stop clowning around so children can enjoy their Halloween this year. This has been Olivia Peacock reporting for UCA News.
So, what about you, Rosa? Scared of clowns?
Not really, no.
Fair enough. Are Southerners stingy? Amber Chalner and Jenny Cole have been investigating the 5p bag charge with residents in Farnham.
Research by Cardiff University has shown that Southerners are most likely to avoid the 5p charge for plastic carrier bags. The charge was brought in to reduce the amount of bags being given away by large supermarkets. This is because plastic carrier bags take a lot longer to biodegrade and can have detrimental effects on the environment. Did you know that 95% of people in the south now take their own carrier bags since the charge was brought in last year? After standing outside Waitrose in Farnham for half an hour, we're not surprised. In half an hour, approximately 20 people came out of Waitrose, and only one of those people had a 5p plastic carrier bag. We spoke to a couple of Farnham customers about why they brought their own bags. Is it to help the environment, or are Southerners really just that stingy? One woman commented, saying this.
I don't like seeing them lying around in the countryside, but I don't pay for them, so I bring my own.
Another couple said this.
Well, environment, every reason. And the fact of 5p on the card.
Absolutely.
on the bag.
We also spoke to Sue, one of the managers at Waitrose, and she had this to say about plastic carrier bag sales.
There's a big decline in the use of the 5p bags. The bag for life, which is 10p, is used a lot more because obviously when that comes to the end of its life, as its name suggests, bag for life, we replace it free of charge, so it's more cost effective. What we have seen a huge uptake in is the sale of Hessian bags, plastic bags. That's gone out of the window with sales that really improved.
When the charge was implemented, it is pretty safe to say people were not impressed, and over a year later, people are still doing their best to avoid paying the 5p for a bag. Are people more likely to start paying for their bags? Only time will tell.
Today marks the 6th Anti-Slavery Day. It's designed to help raise awareness for the continual issues many still face in modern society, and that could be closer to home than you think. Slavery takes many different forms and is often hard to notice. Here is Detective Chief Inspector Fiona Bitters from Hampshire Police on what they're focusing on.
This activity is focusing on human trafficking, particularly those people who've been trafficked for the purposes of sex exploitation. It's being led by the National Crime Agency, and Hampshire is approaching it by using partner agencies, taking a multi-agency approach, and it is particularly focusing on protecting vulnerable people.
One of those agencies are Meadow Trust, and speaking on behalf of them is their partnership coordinator, Jess Geeler, on how they help.
We have difficulties when we engage with victims of modern slavery. They might not know that they're a victim. They might not speak English or know who to report to. So when we work with the police, whilst they're focusing on a criminal justice side, we're focusing on reducing their vulnerability and empowering them to be free from exploitation whilst they're here in the UK.
Cigarette sales are on the decline. Corner shops are taking as little as 6.6% profit on the sale of cigarettes. Our retail correspondent Harry English took to the convenience store to find out more.
Anti-Smoking Foundation, ASH, have found that cigarettes may no longer be the highest seller that they once were. A survey, conducted with 1,500 convenience stores, found that less than 10% of their weekly profits come from cigarette sales, with some shops making little as £242 a week. I spoke to local corner shop employee Will Stanton to find out more on the declining sales.
A lot of people now, they're looking at the price, and it is deterring a lot of people rather than it's put me off. I mean, I'm glad I've never started.
Despite dwindling sales, Will remains adamant that cigarettes will still have their place.
You get your regulars, and I think with the new laws, I don't think the old school people, I don't think they will stop. They'll always smoke.
This has been Harry English with Hogsback Radio. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Harry. Are creative subjects academic enough for A-level studies? History of art is one of many A-level subjects that will no longer be available in schools across England as of next year. There are nearly 30 subjects that are to be cut from the curriculum, including communication and culture, creative writing and moving image arts. These changes might not sound like a big deal to your average academic pupil, but what about those that hope to pursue degrees or careers in the creative field? We spoke to 3 creative writing students at the University of Creative Arts to find out how significant they thought these changes might be.
Creative writing is something that definitely should stay in an A-level setting. I think it's important, and I think it's something a lot of students crave and need.
I didn't even know it was an A-level until you said, and I think creative writing is like, if you're going to do it, it's going to be something that you do anyway, like in your spare time.
I think it's basically telling students that don't get lackadaisy and follow your dreams, pick a core sciencey subject and move on.
Hollywood blockbuster Transformers was filming scenes in the Bournemouth area for their latest sequel, The Last Night. A huge set was constructed in the Forces Commission-owned woodland in the south of Farnham over the weekend. The action film is the 5th of the American franchise, and famous film star Anthony Hopkins was spotted having lunch at the Lion and Lamb Cafe. UCA reporter Jordan Chessman spoke to the film set liaison Pam Eastwood.
Transformers is a major movie. They were doing a big battle scene, and they had an awful lot of equipment. The main part of the scene here was a fireball, and they put a couple of huge cranes up, and they slung this fireball between the cranes and set fire to it so that it flew through the air and then went crashing into the ground. And I was able to watch that, so yeah, very exciting. The actual filming went on for about 3 days. They had a rehearsal day and then 3 film days, and by the time they've cleared up here and gone, they'll have been here for about 5.5 weeks.
And now Luke with the sports.
Thank you, Rosa. Merstham Football Club have reached the first round of the FA Cup for the first time in their history. The Ryman Premier League division side have been drawn against Oxford United, who sit 4 divisions above them in the Football League pyramid. Jack Whiteman spoke to Chairman Chris Chapman about their upcoming David and Goliath tie.
What does it mean to the club to reach the first round and to be drawn against League One side Oxford?
The place has an immense buzz about it at the moment. Everyone's so looking forward to the game and really proud of what we've achieved thus far. Everyone's really up for it, and giving everyone a real good feel factor.
To the listeners who may not have heard of Merstham, can you give me some background on the club's history and what it's all about?
Well, the club was originally founded in 1892. We played in various more local leagues into Surrey League. We were then in the combined county, 7 years in Ryman South. This is our 2nd year in the Ryman North. We got promoted to the Ryman Premier via the playoffs. Season before last, we won the playoffs away at Folkestone 3-0.
The revenue that will come from the first round, will the club be able to handle the potential demand for tickets?
Yes, I think we will. We have one of our supporters is a safety officer at the Premiership club, so he's able to give us invaluable help on what we need to do. We're obviously going to have to liaise with Oxford very carefully to ensure that everything's done correctly. So, we're in the process of going through all of that. We've got a meeting Thursday night, directors, safety officer, etc. Sort of further plans, obviously ensure that everything on the day goes as smoothly as it possibly can. Many years ago when AFC Wimbledon reformed, they were in the combined counties, and we had a crowd in excess of 1,500.
The butchers that you're involved working in, do any special promotions to mark this occasion?
I've got something in mind, as opposed to a promotion as such. I have something in mind that will be very eye-catching. Hopefully I can sort of carry it off. It won't make economic sense, but it'll be good publicity, and it'll be a laugh.
It'll be interesting to see how that one pans out, that's for sure. Aldershot Town crashed out of the FA Cup at the hands of Eastbourne Borough over the weekend, suffering a 2-1 defeat. Goals from Jamie Taylor and Nathaniel Pinney secured the National League South side's progress to the first round. Aldershot were forced to play with 10 men for the majority of the tie, following Jim Kellerman's red card for a poor challenge. Shots manager Gary Waddock expressed his disappointment with the result, but was pleased with the character his side showed.
Yeah, disappointed, but I have to say, saying that, the players showed great character when we went down to 10 men to get back into the game. And
one bright spot for Waddock was the performance of new signing Idris Kanu. The 16-year-old grabbed Aldershot's equaliser with Waddock, delighted by the forward's impact, but is wary of managing his game time.
He's a 16-year-old kid who's played in 2 games. He's been a breath of fresh air here. He scored today. We'll manage him because he's a 16-year-old. We've been fortunate to work with elite players before, so we know how to give them game time and manage them. You know, we'll take it game by game. He'll get minutes, but he'll also be out of the squad from time to time. He'll be in the squad from time to time. We'll just manage him.
Elsewhere, Woking faced Torquay in an FA Cup replay tonight following their 1-1 draw on Saturday. The winner of that tie will face Stockport County away. Maidenhead United continued their winning run in the National League South when they decimated Bishop Stortford 6-0 on Saturday. The Magpies are currently top of the league, only 5 points clear of Hampton and Richmond Borough, who they face this upcoming Saturday. Midfielder James Mully feels the team can keep their consistent run throughout the rest of the season.
You know, we're taking each game as it comes, and yeah, we're just really confident. Boys are fit, everyone's looking strong, we're positive, so we just take each game as it comes. But the belief is there, and rightfully so. You know, we're playing really well defensively and offensively. Got good team spirit, so yeah, buzzing.
And now let's have a look at some other local sport in the area. Reading faced Aston Villa at the Medeski Stadium this evening. Yap Stam's side are currently 8th in the Championship and remain unbeaten at home. Chelsea's under-23s played Leicester at the EBB Stadium. Their match finished 0-0 and their next home game is against Derby County on Monday night. And in cricket, Surrey bowlers Zafar Ansari and Gareth Batty will feature in England's Test team for their Bangladesh tour. And finally in sport, NBA referee Bill Kennedy has had his first interview about being forced to make public his homosexuality after a player called him a very offensive homosexual slur. Strange thing to call someone, if you ask me. 5 days after the offensive comment, Kennedy released a statement on yahoo.com saying, "I am proud to be an NBA referee, and I am proud to be a gay man. I am following in the footsteps of others who have self-identified in the hopes that will send a message to young men and women in sports that you must allow no one to make you feel ashamed of who you are." Openly gay UCA student Theodore Farnham was asked how he would feel if someone had announced his sexuality without his consent.
Scared and vulnerable and pissed off, because you want to choose who knows, because otherwise it can be quite dangerous.
London welcomed the Rio Olympians and the public Paralympic gold medalists at Trafalgar Square this afternoon. Our sports correspondent Teo Alton was there this afternoon and joins us in the studio now to talk through today's event. Hi Teo. First question, how was the atmosphere today at Trafalgar Square?
So the atmosphere today at Trafalgar Square was very celebratory. It was very much a party atmosphere. We had a lot of families there. I think it would have been more had it not been a school day as well, but you know, it was quite, yeah.
Were Surrey's Olympians and Paralympians there?
Yeah, we had sprinter Georgina Hermitage, who won gold at the Rio Paralympics and who has been accused recently of not being Paralympic enough. So that's always quite offensive, you know.
Yeah, strange thing to be accused of, I'm not going to lie. Thanks for coming, Teo. That's very grateful of you for going for us today.
No problem, Luke.
That's from us, guys. Don't forget you can find more from our newsroom at newsdayfarnhamjournalism.com or follow us on Twitter at UCA Newsday.
Thank you.